Hi everyone, in this video I am going to show you how to make this cute little horse applique. I am using this applique for my farm granny square blanket, so I will leave all the information down below if you're interested, but in this video I am going to show you how to make just this cute little horse. So to start, we're going to make a magic ring with our brown yarn, chain up 2, and we're going to make 10 half double crochets right into this magic ring. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like to tighten it up a little bit while I'm going. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, so using this tail end from the magic ring, just pull it tight and then join to the first half double crochet in the ring. So that chain 2 in the beginning, we're not going to count that as a stitch. Okay, now we have a little circle, chain up 2, and now in the second row we are going to make 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. So the first row we have 10 stitches. The second row we should end with 20 stitches since we are making 2 half double crochets into each stitch around. So go ahead and make 2 stitches, 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. You can pause here and I'll meet you back when you're finished with round 2. Okay, now that we have round 2 completed, go ahead and join to the first half double crochet. Again, in this pattern, the chain 2 in the beginning of the rounds will not count as a stitch. So on to round 3, chain up 2, and we are going to increase in every other stitch. So how we're going to do that is 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 1, 2. Okay, so we have 2 half double crochets in the first stitch. In the following stitch we're just going to make 1 half double crochet, and we're going to repeat that around the circle. So that 2 half double crochets in one stitch counts as an increase. We are going to increase every other stitch. So we have increase, half double crochet. Now we're going to do another increase, which is 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. And now the next one, just 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochets, and 1 half double crochet. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around. You can pause here and I'll meet you when we get to the end of round 3. Now I am at the end of round 3. Again, I'm going to join to that first half double crochet in the round. Okay, so we're nearly complete with the head. We will need one more round. So round 4, chain up 2. If you like to count your stitches, this last round, round 3, should have 30 stitches. So the first round 10 stitches, second round 20 stitches, and that third round 30 stitches. If you want to go back and just make sure you have the right number of stitches. Okay, so round 4 I chained up 2. In round 4 we are going to increase after every 2 stitches. So let's start with an increase. In that first stitch we are going to make 2 half double crochets, 1, 2. Now we are going to do a half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So 1 half double crochet in one stitch and 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. So this pattern is going to go 2 half double crochets in one stitch, then half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So we're increasing after every 2 stitches. So we have increase, 1 2 stitches, increase, which is 2 half double crochets, and then half double crochet, half double crochet. So we're just going to repeat that all the way around. Increase, and then half double crochet 1, half double crochet 2. Okay, end of round 4. Again, we are going to join to the first half double crochet in the round. That chain 2 in the beginning doesn't count as a stitch. So we're basically done with the head, but we don't want to fasten off yet because we're just going to continue to make the first ear of the horse. So after you've joined, chain up 1, and we are going to make 3 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn your work, and now we are going to do a triple decrease, single crocheting 3 together. So insert your hook into the first stitch there, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the second stitch there, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the third stitch there, pull up a loop. You will have 1 2 3 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. Chain 1 to fasten it, and then you can cut. So that makes 1 ear. So this is the back. Here's the front. So there's 1 ear. To make the second ear, we are going to make it 4 spaces or 4 stitches away from this first ear. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 spaces. Then I'm going to go into this next one since I want 4 spaces in between the ears. And we are going to reattach the brown. So go ahead and pull that in there. I don't do anything fancy. I basically just pull that in there. And then chain up 1. And I am going to work over this tail just so it secures it a little bit. So I chained up 1, and I'm going to do the same exact thing for this first ear. So I am going to single crochet 3 times, 1, and that first single crochet is in the same stitch as that chain 1 where I attached the yarn. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and turn, and again I'm going to do a single crochet triple decrease or single crochet 3 together. So insert my hook in the first one, pull up a loop, second stitch, pull up a loop, my third and final stitch, pull up a loop, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through all 4, chain 1 to fasten, and I'm going to leave this tail end longer than my first ear because I want to use this brown yarn to attach the horse to my crochet piece. So I'm attaching this to a granny square, so I want to keep this long because the whole entire face of the horse is brown, so when I attach it you won't be able to see that I'm attaching it if I use the same color yarn. Okay, so here's the basic shape of the horse face. Next we are going to work on his snout. Okay, for the snout I am using a tan or beige color, same hook. I'm going to start with a magic ring again. chain 2, and then I'm going to make 5 half double crochets into this ring. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to tighten this ring. I'm not going to join. I'm just going to tighten it, and we're actually going to work in rows. So this is going to give us like a half circle effect. So I just closed up the ring. I'm going to chain up 2, and I'm going to turn just like I'm working in rows. So the second row, we are going to do 2 half double crochets in each stitch across. 1, 2, in that first stitch. 1, 2, that second stitch. Just 2 half double crochets in each stitch across, and then when we get to the end, that will give us 10 half double crochets for round 2. Okay, chain up 2, turn your work, or you could turn and chain 2, whichever you feel comfortable doing. It all turns out the same. So row 3 is going to be our last row for the snout. We are going to increase every other stitch, just like we did on the head. So the first stitch we will increase, increase 2 half double crochets. And that next one, just 1 half double crochet. So we're increasing every other. That's the pattern for this row. 2 half double crochets in one stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and then in this row we should have 15 stitches. So 5, 10, 15. We can fasten off and then leave a bit of a tail because we do want to sew the snout right onto the head. Okay, so here is the snout. Grab some black. We're going to do some nostrils with our tapestry needle. So just cut a little bit off of your black yarn. Get it under your needle. We're just going to make 2 little lines for the nostrils. So wherever you want to place them is fine. So there's 1. There's 2. Try to make it as even as possible. Okay, so that looks good to me. If it didn't look good to me, you can always just take it out and then sew them on again until they look even to you. And since there's just 2 tails in the back, I am just going to tie this in the back. Since no one's going to see it, it's going to be sewn right onto the horse's head. So I'm just going to do 2 simple knots there just so it's secure, and then I'll cut them fairly close to the knot, not so it can come undone, but just so it can hide behind there. And I'll cut this too. That was just my end from the magic ring. Okay, so here's my snout. So it'll fit on right here. I'm not going to be picky about how I sew this on, just because since the horse itself is going to be crocheted on something, you're not going to see the back of it. So I'm just going to do a running stitch. Make sure your ears are aligned. So I'm leaving a bit of a brown outline there. So I'm just going to go in with my needle, and I'm just going to go back up. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around. So it's going to look like this in the back, but no one's going to see that, so it's okay. So you can pause it here. I'm going to finish up sewing the snout on the horse face. Okay, now I have the snout sewed on. I wanted to show you how I tie things off, or how I knot things off. So I will just go under one stitch close by to where I want to knot it off. I'll take the yarn that's in between, like here. You can see the tail here. So I'll take this yarn, the working yarn I guess you would call it, and I'll just wrap it around twice, and then you kind of hold this down and you just push the needle through this, all this stuff, and then you pull it tight and it just creates a knot. My mom showed me that little trick. I love it. It's easy. I don't know how it works, but it works. So yeah, that's how I knot everything off in the back. So now we have most of the face done. We are going to use our off-white, or you could use white, whatever color you want, to make like this little white stripe for the face. So this is super easy. It's basically just a rectangle. So make a slip knot, chain 3, then we're going to make a single crochet into that second chain from the hook, and in that next one, which is also the last one. So this is going to be really tiny. We're going to have 2 stitches across. Chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet across, which is just 2 single crochets. So there we have 2 rows. Chain, turn your work, single crochet across. We are going to do this for a total of 7 rows. So you can pause here. I'm going to do this off camera, and then I'll meet you back here when I'm finished. Okay, here's my little stripe. I'm just going to, I fastened off and I left a pretty long tail to sew onto the face. So I'm going to do that the same way I sewed this snout on. So this should fit like pretty perfectly. You want to sew it here. I know everyone's tension is different, so if it's way too long, just take out a row. If it's way too short, add a row, just so it fits from the snout to the top of the head. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this on, and I will meet you back here. Okay, here is what it should be looking like. The last 2 things we need to do is add some hair to the top and add some eyeballs. So here I have 6mm safety eyes, and I'm going to put these on. So you'll need these, like the eye part, and then these are the backings for them. I'll show you how to put them on. So I'm just going to put them there. It looks good. And there, that looks good. Okay, so here's the backing. Flip it around. So these have like little grooves on them. So typically what I see is you put them on like this. So it's kind of like a half, like a sphere sort of. I can't put them on like this. It just doesn't go on for me that way. I flip them like this, so then I have like a little bit of grip for my fingers. So I'll push it on a little bit. And then I'm holding the front, the eyeball with my finger, and I use my fingers, and see, this gives me more of a grip because it's like flat here, and I'll push it down. I don't know if you heard that snap, but it just snapped like all the way down. The first time I did this, I didn't think I was doing it right because they are very difficult to put on. Once they are on, they are on. You can't take them off. So just make sure your eyes are where you want them to be. And here's the second one. And I did see something on Etsy. There's a little tool that helps you put these safety eyes on. I'll link that down below just in case you're interested and use these safety eyes a lot. But they are very difficult to put on, so you might even need someone to help you put these on, because I know after putting on a couple of these my fingers are hurting. So there we have the eyes. For the hair, we are just going to cut little pieces of yarn. This is, I don't know, maybe 5 inches. Doesn't have to be exact. And then what I do is I fold it in half. Take your crochet hook, and we are going to work these into these stitches between the ears. So I'm going to pull them to the back. I'm going to go into one stitch. See, this is folded in half. I'm going to take that loop, pull it back into that stitch about halfway. Okay, so here we have a loop, and then tails. I'm going to put my hook in that loop and then pull these tails through that loop. And then I'm going to pull tight, and that's how you do your hair. So I'm just going to do 2 of these per stitch. Okay, so I'm going to do those, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, now I have my hair attached. It's probably going to look like this when you're done. You just have to smooth it over. And I don't attach it down in any way. I think it's fun that it's just hair. It just kind of goes wherever it wants, but I will just kind of do it like that. And then you can trim, like you could trim it evenly if you want to, just so it looks a little nicer, but that is basically it. Just weave in your ends, keep your long end to sew it onto a granny square or whatever you want to sew it on. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, I do have a Facebook group that I check daily. I'll leave the information down below, so if you have any questions, you can ask there.